Hello everybody and welcome back to Command Point. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Exaction Squad Kill Team, the Adeptus, oh goodness, I'm going to say it. Is it Arbites? Who really knows? It's one of those things for sure. But this is the new team out of the Kill Team Soulshackle box that Games Workshop's graciously sent to us. So as always, thank you to Games Workshop for providing us with this box. We're really excited to get into these two teams. Ryan's going to be covering the Hand of the Archon in a separate video, so if you're more interested in those guys, go check out that video on the channel as well. But if you're interested in the Exaction Squad, well, this is the video you're looking for. So, I mean, let's just get into it. We're just going to kind of go over it. This is going to be a super deep dive. I don't really, this is kind of my first impressions of the team as well. So, I mean, let's get into it, right? So first of all, their archetypes are Security and Seek and Destroy. We already know that Seek and Destroy is pretty good right now in the current new crit ops climate. They've got some of the better options. But let's take a look at what the operatives are. So they get one leader. I'm gonna have to say it every time. And I'm gonna say Arbites. No, that sounds kind of stupid. I'm gonna say Arbites. Okay, so we have one. That also sounds stupid. Guys, I'm just going to wing it every time. All right, we have one Arbites Proctor Exactant operative equipped with one of the following options: a combat shotgun and a repression baton, or a dominator maul and assault shield. So we'll look at that later. And then 10 operatives selected from the following list, and it basically lists a bunch of their specialists and, the basic guys and the dog, and we'll talk about the specialists as we go on. They've got 3 faction attack ops, of course. We'll get into those after, because talking about them now without any context to the team makes no sense to me. Let's talk about their basic Exaction Squad ability, though: Ruthless Efficiency. So each time a friendly operative with this ability makes a shooting attack with a weapon that doesn't have the blast special rule or the word grenade in the name, and the select valid target step of that shooting attack, enemy operatives within 6 inches of it can have other friendly operatives within engagement range and still be selected as a valid target. They must still be a valid target by all other means. So, very interesting. You can lock somebody up in combat and then walk up, presumably maybe with a shotgun or some other scary weapon, and shoot a model that is trapped in combat. I really like that, because not only are you keeping that initial guy safe in combat potentially, but you are locking down that enemy to get shot unless they spend 2 APL to fall back. So without looking at the operatives yet, that's a really cool ability. I'm a big fan of Ruthless Efficiency. But talking about the strategic and the tactical plays really quick, let's go over the strategic plays first. So they've got Guilt Reveals Itself for 1 command point. This is already so fluffy. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative makes a shooting attack, enemy operatives must be more than 2 circles, so 4 inches, instead of 1 circle from it to be in cover. So that's really interesting. It's a little bit easier for them to break that cover line, not cover line necessarily, but that cover bubble compared to some other teams. For 1 CP, we also have Inviolate Jurisdiction. Until the end of the turning point, each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Extraction Squad operative that's within circle of an objective, marker, or enemy operative in the roll defense dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll one of your defense dice. Okay, interesting. So if you're on an objective or near an enemy and you're getting shot, you get a re-roll. Dispense Justice for 1 command point. Each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative fights in combat in an activation, including an enemy activation, in which it is not moved more than its movement characteristic, in the roll attack dice step of that combat, you can re-roll 1 of your attack dice. Okay, very nice, very nice. A little bit of melee reliability here. Terminal Decree, 1 command point. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative makes a shooting attack against an enemy operative within 2 circle. So once again, that's 4 inches. In the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can re-roll 1 of your attack dice. So these guys want to get up close. They want to get within 4 inches, it sounds like, particularly. And, with Ruthless Efficiency, they can get into those close ranges and shoot into combat. So that's pretty interesting. Shoot into other combats, not their own combats. Okay, let's go into the tactical ploys. So first we have the long arm of the Emperor's Law. Okay, this is one command point. Use this tactical ploy in the scouting step when your opponent reveals their selection. They cannot resolve that selection. Initiative is still determined as normal, and this tactical ploy has no effect on additional or different scouting options your opponent could perform. Okay. So let's say they really want that recon dash, like you notice something that they can do. You declare the long arm of the Emperor's Law and just say no, they don't get that dash. Or if they go full conceal, and there's a way that they could potentially threaten you with an infiltrate flip, you just say they don't get to. So that's kind of funny. I think this is something where if you notice like a hole in the way you deployed on that turn 0, you can use this to like turn off something that would have otherwise caught you out. So I really like that, and it encourages you to be pretty attentive to the board state after deployment. Okay, one command point. The next one is Exact Punishment. Use this tactical ploy after an enemy operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a friendly Exaction Squad operative within 3 inches of it, so square. And that friendly operative is not incapacitated as a result. That friendly operative can immediately perform a free fight or overwatch action, but can only target that enemy operative and only if it's a valid target. So interesting. So after an enemy operative fights in combat and makes a shooting attack. So, okay, so if they fight you or shoot you and you survive, they don't kill you, you can immediately fight or shoot back. Okay, I really like that. That's a really cool ability. Interesting. That's unique. I don't think we've had anything exactly like that. Okay, next up we have Brutal Backup for 1 command point. So use this tactical ploy after a friendly Exaction Squad operative performs a fight action with combat support. Okay. One of the friendly Exaction Squad operatives that provided combat support can immediately perform a free fight action, but can only target the enemy operative from that previous fight action and only if it's a valid target. Ooh. Okay, I really like this against elite teams, potentially. Maybe. Combat support is a little bit niche, but I don't hate it. There's going to be times when this is really, really clutch, I'm sure. Okay. And the last tactical ploy here, we have Execution Order for 1 command point. Use this tactical ploy when a friendly Proctor Exactant, so remember, I believe that's the leader. Yeah, it's the leader. When a friendly Proctor Exactant operative is activated, select 1 operative in its line of sight. Until the end of the battle, each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against that enemy operative, in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. You can only use this once. Okay. So, I mean, I see a lot of cool stuff against elite teams here. Like, in particular. Yeah, really big fan of that. Kind of a shame that it's only once per game. But, I mean, let's take a look at the operatives and see how strong these guys are. So, to start, we've got that Proctor Exactant, the leader. The chassis is looking like 2 APL, 8 wounds, so probably 7 for most of these guys. A 4-up save, 3 defense dice, and 6-inch movement. So the combat shotgun that he can be equipped with is 4 shots on 2s, damage 4/4, range 6, but there's a long range profile as well that is 4 shots on 4s, damage 2/2. So it sucks. So okay, so don't use that. The Repression Baton is 3 attacks on 4s, 2/2. That's it. No special rules. Okay, that's a little underwhelming. And then there's the other option, the Dominator Maul and Assault Shield. So there's 2 profiles. There's offensive and defensive. So there's the offensive profile, which hits on 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, damage 4/4, lethal 5, and stun. Okay, not bad. And there's the defensive profile, which is 4 attacks on 3s, 4/4, repress, and shield. All right, so we need to go over what repress and shield do. Okay. So first of all, repress is each time this operative fights in combat with this weapon, you are the attacker. You just are the attacker. Okay. And then the shield ability, each time this operative fights in combat with this weapon and the result of successful hit step of that combat, each time it parries, 2 of your opponent's successful hits are discarded instead of 1. Oh, this is so sick. I really like this as like a melee monster. Because he's always fighting first, basically. Unless he's against, like, a Shrive Talon or something that's charging. But, and if you're normally fighting first, you just use the offensive profile, which is just like a little bit hardier. It's got the lethal 5 and stun. And if you're not fighting first, you just use defensive, and then not only are you the attacker now, but like you have the upside to like parry twice with one die, which I think is going to be super clutch and helpful. And also, like, again, this guy is super okay with being in combat, like, still after a fight happens because of that ruthless efficiency roll. I'm sure, like, he would be happy to fight something, parry out, and stay in combat, and then have one of his other guys run over and, you know, shotgun somebody in the face. All right, so anyway, he has the Assault Shield rule, presumably. If he has the Dominator Maul and Assault Shield, yeah, he gets a 3-up save characteristics. That's pretty cool. And then there's the Nuncio Aquila ability. So each time an enemy operative would perform a mission action or the pickup action, if that enemy operative is within 3 inches of your Nuncio Aquila token, so I guess that's an action, you drop the token, or this operative, if that token has not been placed, okay, 1 additional action point must be subtracted to perform that action. Okay. And then when determining control of an objective marker, your token is within 3 of, treat enemy operatives total APL as being 1 less. So this is actually the same as the Legionnaire Shrive Talon's Grizzly token. So this guy kind of reminds me of the Shrive Talon a little bit. I've been playing some Legionnaires lately, but this guy has multiple things in common with the Shrive Talon, which is weird. So then he has the unique action deploy Nuncio Aquila. It's only 1 AP. The first time this operative performs this action during a battle, place one of your Nuncio Aquila tokens within 6 inches horizontally and any distance vertically. Whoa, this is way better than Grizzly token. Each time this operative performs this action thereafter, you can move it up to 6 horizontally. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really good. You just can't do it with an engagement range. That's an incredible ability. So, okay. Wow. I like that a lot. All right, that's the leader. There's a lot of text there, but we're going to move on to the Arbites Castigator. I'm going to say Arbites. I think it runs off the tongue a little better. So, again, it's the same chassis. He's just got 7 wounds instead. This guy has a shotgun. So the normal shotgun profile hits on 3s instead of 2s, but it is damage 4/4, range 6, which is not bad at all. And he's got an Excruciator Maul, which is 4 attacks on 3s, damage 4/4 with rending and stun. Not bad, not bad. He gets the Engendered Focus. You can ignore any or all modifiers to this operative's characteristics. Okay. And then there's the Zealous Dedication ability, which is a 6-up Feel No Pain. Okay, so this guy's kind of nice. He's got about 1 extra wound normally because of that 6-up Feel No Pain. Cool. He has 1 unique action, Castigator's Arrest for 1 AP. Perform a free fight action with this operative against a valid target with a wounds characteristic of 10 or less. At the end of that combat, if neither operative has been incapacitated, the target is arrested until the end of the battle. While a friendly Exaction Squad operative is within engagement range of no more than 1 arrested enemy and no other enemy operatives, that arrested enemy operative cannot perform any actions other than pass. Operatives that can perform this action cannot themselves be arrested. What in the world? Okay. So you charge things, fight them, keep them alive, and then they're just stuck in combat. So this pairs amazingly with Ruthless Efficiency. Oh my goodness. So this guy's like arresting people. Wow. Well, this guy's probably very important to the Exaction Squad team. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say maybe. All right, next up we've got the Arbites Chirurgent. What is that word? Same profile, except he has a combat shotgun and repression baton, so 3 attacks on 4s, 2/2. This guy's a medic. He can do a revive if somebody dies from a shooting attack within range 3 of them. Same exact stuff that we're used to. And then he's got the Medikit ability, which is a heal 1 AP action, 2d3 lost wounds within 1 inch. And you can't do it if they were revived. So same as all the other medics. This guy is just a medic. Might be pretty good, though. I mean, medics are very important in these horde teams. So let's move on. We've got the first Arbites Gunner. And actually, I should... how many of these gunners do we get here on this team? Let's see. you can have 2 Arbites Gunner and 4 Subductors. Okay, so we'll get to the Subductors later. So first the Gunner. So the Gunner can come with a grenade launcher, a heavy stubber, or a Weber, and he also gets a repression baton, that, you know, very, very mediocre melee weapon that is like worse than a bayonet, but, you know, whatever. The grenade launcher is interesting. It's actually different. It's 4 shots on 4s, 4.6 AP1. It's just, there's not like a crack or blast profile. That's just what it is. Okay. Still called grenade launcher though. And then we've got a heavy stubber, which is 5 shots on 4s, 3.4, ceaseless fusillade heavy. That's about the same. And then a Weber, 5 shots on 3s, 2.2, range 6, lethal 5 stun. I really like Webers. I mean, there's probably going to be times when you take it over the heavy stubber. That grenade launcher is probably just an auto take, if I had to guess. So Arbites Leash Master is up next. I'm guessing this guy has something to do with the doggy. So combat shotgun, repression baton, same stuff. He's got the handler ability. Each time this operative is activated, you can also activate a rowdy friendly RVR Cyber Mastiff operative at the same time. Complete their actions in any order. Okay. That's pretty cool. So you can like move with this guy, move with the dog, or like charge with this guy, charge with the dog, or have the dog charge. Dog probably doesn't have the ruthless efficiency roll, but I don't know. I guess he would have to have it. So I guess, yeah, you have the dog charge, and then this guy runs up and shoots them. I don't know. Whatever. He's also got the attack pattern dog. When this operative is selected for deployment, select one of the following attack patterns for a friendly RVR Cyber Mastiff operative to have. Aggressive. Select melee weapons that is equipped with gain the relentless special rule, or you can give it swift, so you add circle to its movement characteristic, or defensive, where you improve its save characteristic by 1. I mean, aggressive sounds pretty good here without having looked at the dog yet. Yeah. And then there's the command ability for 0 action points this guy gets. You can select your dog if it's within 6 and change its attack pattern. Okay, cool. Interesting. So maybe you can like start with the dog being swift, and then when you want the dog to kill something, you switch it to aggressive. I don't know. Or like the dog can charge with swift, and then if you're pairing their activations, the dog can charge, stay within 6 of the Leash Master. The Leash Master can do command for 0 action points to give it aggressive, and then the dog attacks with relentless. So it's like getting both of the bonuses in 1 activation. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to move on from this. Let's talk about the dog itself. So it's got 3 circle normally, so it doesn't have that 4 circle movement unless you give it swift. 7, it's actually got the same stat line as the RBD guys. Mechanical Bite, 4 attacks on 4s, damage 3/5. So that relentless is going to be necessary if it's only 4 attacks on 4s. 3/5 damage is fine for the most part against most things, but I mean, you're not going to be hitting a lot without relentless. It's got the Beast ability. Other than the Gather Evidence mission action, this operative cannot perform mission actions and cannot be equipped with equipment. Makes sense. And then it has the Apprehend ability. So you select one enemy operative within this operative's engagement range. That enemy operative suffers D3 mortal wounds, and until it's no longer within this operative's engagement range, it's apprehended. Each time an apprehended enemy operative perform a fallback action, your opponent must roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result for each wound it has remaining that's greater than this operative's remaining wounds. Okay. If the result is less than this operative's remaining wounds, that enemy operative cannot perform this action, and the action points are refunded. Okay, weird. That's kind of niche. It costs an action to do it, and you're like preemptively stopping them from falling back. Most things are going to be fine fighting the Cyber Mastiff in combat, so I don't see this happening a ton. But yeah, and then okay, next up we've got the Arbites Malocator. So shotgun baton. It's got the acute focus ability. He once returned during his activation, he can perform a mission action or the pickup action for 1 less action point. That's super cool, like that. And then he's got the Versant. I don't know. 1 AP action. Select one enemy operative. In this operative's line of sight, so not visibility, line of sight. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Exaction Squad operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against that enemy operative, you can retain one of your successful normal hits as a critical hit instead. This operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. Okay. That's pretty much all he does other than the mission action stuff. So, interesting. All right. Arbity's Marksman. So, oh, weird. So this guy he's your sniper. He's got the Executioner shotgun, which is 4 shots on 3s, damage 4-1 with heavy, silent, and mortal wounds 3. So it's like a sniper that does a little bit more damage. It doesn't hit quite as well. And he has the take aim ability for 1 AP, so until the end of his activation, the Executioner shotgun, this operative is equipped with gains balanced and no cover. Okay. And you can't do it within 3 inches of an enemy operative. Okay. Cool. We like snipers. We do. Next up, we've got the Arbity's Revelatum. God, some of these names I can't with this team. All right. So he's got the scoped shot pistol and repression baton. So the scoped shot pistol is 4 shots on 3s, 3-1. It doesn't have a range, even though it's a pistol, so it's max range. 4 shots on 3s, 3-1 with mortal wound 2. So it's basically 3-3, but a little bit better. Okay, so it's a little worse than a bolt gun, kind of, in some ways better. It's got the first in the field ability. At the end of the initiative phase, the first turning point, if this operative is wholly within your drop zone, it can perform a free normal move as if it can fly. Cool. And then there's an action called the Soul Guilt Scan. Wow. Select one enemy operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative. Until the end of the turning point, friendly Exaction Squad operatives visible to and within 3 inches of this operative treat that enemy operative as if it has an engage order. So you need to be within 6, and then use the Soul Guilt Scan, and then guys within 3 of him, so probably within roughly 9, treat that enemy as if they have an engage. Okay. I hate things like this. I wish it was just when you compare it to like the early teams, like the spotter on the Vet Guard, it's just there's so many more conditions here. I don't know. It's probably still fine. These things are generally better on horde teams and elite teams. Like I know Phobos has something like this, but when you only have 6 activations, you can't usually take advantage of it as much. All right. Next up, we got the Arbity's Subductor. So if I'm not mistaken, you could take like 4 of these guys. Am I wrong about that? 4 Subductors. Okay, potentially. So let's read him. Same stat line. He's got a Shock Maul and Assault Shield. So it's got the offensive and defensive stuff. So it's got that same, it's the same kind of as the leader's shield thing. It's got the offensive profile, 4 attacks on 4s, damage 4-4 with stun, and then the defensive has the same stat line except no stun, and it has that repress and shield ability. So the way that, I mean, this is worse than the leader because it hits on 3s. It doesn't have lethal 5 on the offensive profile. You're going to have to use ploys to make this a little bit more, like, effective. I mean, you can take 4 of them. I'm not sure if you want to. I don't know. This is weird. All right, let's move on. Next up, we've got the Arbity's Vigilant. It's got a combat shotgun and a... Okay, so this is just the basic guy. This is like the basic trooper. He's got a shotgun and the baton. Okay. Next, we've got the Vox... Arbity's Vox Signifier. Combat shotgun, repression baton. It's got... The only thing special here is the unique action Precinct Vox Relay. It's a comm specialist. It can give somebody an APL as long as it's not a dog. Okay, comms are really good. Now let's take a look at the equipment. So for 1 equipment point, we have the shot pistol. They get the following ranged weapon for the battle. 4 shots on 4s, 3-3, range 6. Almost all these guys have shotguns. This is trash. Okay, good to know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will really like shot pistols, but that, on a hot take level, that seems awful. That's strictly worse than a shotgun. less damage, less, like, worse ballistic skill. I mean, it's only 1, but, like, I guess you give it to, like if you're spamming the Subductors, you can give the Subductor a mediocre pistol. Okay. We've got the reinforced mirror visor for 1 equipment point. Yeah, it just ignores stun, and it's not affected by the stun critical hit roll. Pretty niche. Manacles for 2 equipment points. They can perform the following action. Arrest for one action point. Okay. Perform a free fight action with this operative against a valid target with a wounds characteristic of 7 or less. Okay. At the end of the combat, if neither operative has been incapacitated... Okay, so it's like the arrest ability. It's the same thing that the one guy can do, except it's an equipment piece that you can give to any of these guys, and it only works against operatives with 7 or less total wounds characteristic. Interesting. This could be like a... Wow, I don't know how to feel about this. Okay. Next up, we've got the strobing phosphor lumen for 1 equipment point. Each time an enemy operative visible to and within 6 inches of this operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack against a friendly Exaction Squad operative within circle of this operative, and the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, your opponent cannot re-roll their attack dice. I kind of like that. That's pretty solid for 1 equipment point. Because it doesn't say another friendly Exaction Squad. So, like, effectively, you put this on a guy for 1 equipment point, and if they're within 6 inches of you, or shooting a guy within... Oh, goodness. Okay. So it just turns off rerolls. I mean, offensive rerolls, if you're, like, getting shot at, assuming they're within 6 inches of you. Or within 6 inches of the guy with that. Okay. I mean, even if that didn't have like an aura that helped teammates, I wouldn't hate that at all. I actually really like that. Okay. Frag grenade, 2 equipment points. Crack grenade, 3 equipment points. Stun grenade, 3 equipment points. You guys know what those do. That rounds out the equipment. I really like the phosphor lumens. Some teams are going to hate to see that. Yeah. Anyway, I guess let's wrap up and take a look at their tac ops before we close out here. So the first one is Seize or Incapacitate. This is Faction Tac Op 1. Reveal this in the target reveal step of the first turning point. Select 1 enemy operative to be the criminal. You're playing cops and robbers. Okay. If that enemy operative is incapacitated before it is removed from the kill zone, place 1 of your criminal tokens underneath the operative as close as possible to the center of its base. Friendly Exaction Squad operatives, excluding the doggy, can perform the pickup action on that token while not within engagement range of an enemy operative. Subtract circle from their movement characteristic while they're carrying it. So if you kill the guy, you get a point. And then at the end of the game, if you control the criminal token, you score another point. So, I mean, if you're against an elite team, I think this is awesome. Because first of all, you get... You have the agency. You get to pick the enemy operative. So even against like hordes, I can see this being good because you're going to pick something that they expect to be aggressive with. It's not like they pick their comms and then sit in the back all game and you never get it. Okay, I'm not going to rule this out right away. I like this. Usually it's pretty easy to like say, okay, I don't like that tac op after reading it. I don't think I can say I don't like that tac op. I'm not going to say it's amazing either, but I don't know. I'm not writing it off right away. The Faction Tac Op 2 is Contain Threat. Reveal this in the target reveal step of any turning point. At the end of any turning point, if every enemy operative in the kill zone is within 6 inches of your opponent's drop zone and or within circle of 1 of your operatives, you score a victory point. Yeah, I hate it already. The second bullet says, if you achieve the first condition, yeah, no, okay. If you do it again, you get a victory point. I don't like this. Hunter Clade has something like this. It sucks for them. It's going to suck for these guys too. Gather Evidence is the third Faction Tac Op. So you can reveal this Tac Op the first time a friendly operative performs the Gather Evidence action below. At the end of the battle, if 1 or more friendly operatives that have performed the Gather Evidence action have not been incapacitated during the battle, you score a victory point. And then the second bullet is if 2 or more friendly operatives that have performed the Gather Evidence action have not been incapacitated. So the Mallocator, the Revelatum, and the Doggy can perform the action. So they can perform this action while it controls an objective marker that has not been examined by your kill team. If it does so, until the end of the battle, that objective marker has been examined. An operative cannot perform this action while within engagement range. So basically, like, there's two things here. They need to... First, well, there's kind of three things. Only the Mallocator, the Revelatum, or the Cybermastiff can do it, first of all. They need to do an action on an objective, and they need to survive the whole game. So, like, I'm torn. On one hand, on some of the crit ops missions, it's, like, super easy to do this action twice in the first round, 3 times in the first round. Because either, like, a lot of the crit ops map layouts have 3 safe objectives on your side. And then, I mean, so the Revelatum... So the Cybermastiff, I mean, I can imagine keeping him safe isn't super hard. Wait, let me look at the Mallocator and... Okay, so the Mallocator is the guy who does free mission actions, and that's about it. And he's got the Viriscant ability. So, I mean, he's not, like, a killer, really. Like, he's not, like, a super offensively tough model. So I can see doing that action and hanging him back. Huh. And then the other guy is the Revelatum, who is the... he's the guy with the Soul Guild scan. So, again, I mean, maybe this isn't terrible. I hate that it's tied to only these models. If it wasn't tied to these models, it would be, like, very good. Maybe not very good, but it would be better because, I mean, these aren't... Maybe if it wasn't tied to these models, these would be some of the models you would do it with anyway, excluding the dog. I don't know. I don't love it. I think I like Season or Incapacitate better. I don't know. Either way, there's something to think about with these tac ops other than Contain Threat. I hate Contain Threat. Yeah. So, I mean, that pretty much wraps up my review here, first take review of the Exaction Squad Kill Team. All in all, I find them very interesting. I don't know how strong they are at a glance. It's really hard to tell. They've got some cool stuff. I'm really excited to see what people can do with them. My first impression is I think they're better than, like, you know, people really didn't like Castigator or Hierotech, so I'm inclined to say that they're probably better than those teams. They don't strike me as being too good or too weak at a glance, but, you know, time will tell. So, yeah, so this has been the review of the Exaction Squad Kill Team. Shout out to everybody that is already subscribed. You guys rock. If you're watching and not subscribed and you enjoyed this video, please consider giving us a subscribe. It really helps us here at Command Point. And special shout out, as always, to everybody over at patreon.com/commandpoint and our YouTube membership members. You guys help keep the light on. If you guys want to support us there, if you're not already, for as cheap as $1 a month, $12 a year, you can support us just a little bit more, and we'll forever appreciate you for it. So this is Shane from Command Point talking about the Exaction Squad Kill Team, signing out.